Hey, here we go. Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to Masks School of Hard Knocks. This is a Masks New Gauntlet City run game. Most of these players I found on the Gauntlet community, a wonderful community full of role players, game designers, people who love story games, indie games, narrative-driven stuff, and even some OSR. And we will be playing Masks, the next generation, a game of teenage superheroics. Well, normally superheroics. We're going to be touching base with the Secret Six, Villains United, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and we are playing the villains of the story this time. But that doesn't mean we can't humanize villains. It doesn't mean we can't have pathos. That doesn't mean we can't get things done, maybe even better than those damn heroes. And I am your facilitator for this game, Ferret. You can also call me Sawyer. I'll answer to either. I use any pronouns set with respect, so you cannot misgender me. That is wonderful. I'm going to go around in character keeper order to have people introduce themselves first. Then we will go back around to introduce our villains. So, David, would you start? Or David Morrison.
Yeah, the old problem. Hi, my name's David. I use he/him pronouns. I've been playing games with the Gauntlet now for just under 2 years, I guess. Played a fair bit of Masks. This is the first time I'm seeing Masks from the other side of the Cape. Does that make sense? I don't know, but yeah, looking forward to playing with you all.
And my new friend Jay in my third game this week.
Yes, it's a bit of a habit now. Hi, I'm Jay. I use the he/him pronouns, and I've played a few Powered by the Apocalypse games, but this is my first Masks game. Go figure that I'm playing a villain first time around. This excites me, and it's the first time I'm playing with all of these lovely people, and hope it's going to be a good one.
Up next, Leandro.
Hi, yeah, my name's Leandro. I use he, him pronouns, and I think I will reach 2 years in Gauntlet come July. Yes, I think that makes yeah, it will be July. And I've ran Masked more than I've played it, so the opportunity to play it is welcome. And this seems to be an interesting twist. I say it seems to be, of course it is. We're on the other side of the fence, the cape, so to speak, as David just said. So the perspective shift is going to be really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And finally, the other David.
Hey, I'm David. You can do Dave just so we can easily call us apart. I also wear glasses and have a beard. Not all Daves look like this in the UK, just most of us. I'm a he/him.
Okay, so let's go back around and introduce these wonderful villains who will be our main cast. And I don't know, maybe we'll even come up with a team name before we get into the comic, but I find that usually is more of a session one or two gimmick. But let's start with Atlas.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing the Bull in our team. Danny Mack is a Chinese guy born in Hong Kong, though has spent much of his time raised, we'll say, outside of Hong Kong. Where exactly may be somewhat of a mystery to this day, but he currently goes by the moniker Atlas, though he isn't entirely sold on it, and neither am I. It's that's mostly his designator that was applied to him rather than being a chosen name. As the Bull, he is exceptionally strong, exceptionally tough, and exceptionally good at fighting. In his case, he was diagnosed with a strange genetic disorder as a young kid. He was a company made a very charitable offer to his parents to take care of him, and he spent the next several years being experimented on. He his essentially he has exceptionally fast cellular regrowth, so he recovers very quickly from injury. Sort very much we're very much going for the sort of Wolverine end of the spectrum here. The side effect of that is that like his frame and his muscles are like super dense. He's like not a small guy. He's like probably 6'1" or so, but not like a Incredible Hulk type. And likewise, he looks athletic, but not again. He doesn't look like the Incredible Hulk, but he can throw a car with ease and all that sort of thing, despite his relatively words. Despite not really looking like he can. He is, as I say, he recently, maybe in the last year or so, he left the facility where he had been kept up until that point, probably not in an entirely mutually agreeable fashion, and has spent the time since basically picking up what work he can get as hired muscle, because he certainly has a lot of it.
Sounds good. And sounds like a perfect, superpowered individual. Nasty nasty demeanor. No ties to any good relatives or anything. Perfect fodder for the School of Hard Knocks. I mean, student. And up next, Arachnophobe.
Yes, hi. I will be playing the Janus playbook today, and I will be your shady neighborhood spider, Arachnophobe. Cody Jameson had a really, really terrible set of parents growing up. The sort that were more the likes that he would look after they were indulging in their vices, should we say. And eventually they had to clear debts, and poor old little Cody had to be kind of sent off to be taken care of. But little did they know, they actually sold him off to a supervillain who, quote unquote, experimented on him with a sort of fear serum type deal. Now Cody was terrified of spiders, but thankfully a hero came in, saved the whole shebang. He just needed a little bit of therapy and a way to take out his issues. So he, after developing his abilities, he threw on a hoodie, got his spray paint cans, and started going around the city, tagging spiders everywhere. And occasionally he'd mug a person or two just to get enough money for a burger or 10, because all this organic webbing, you kind of need the protein outlet, so to speak, for it. So that's pretty much him. He's a delinquent, shady sort of person. You don't know whether he means well or not, and you can never tell when he's serious, but it's just the way Cody is.
The Scepter of Agony can tell when you're serious.
Yeah, it's a problem when people can tell if I'm serious.
Yeah. And up next, Fermata.
Yes. I was playing the aforementioned Fermata. I use she, her pronouns. She is of the Legacy playbook. Her ability lines come from something created for this version of Mask, which is a cult leader, which means she has exemplary occult knowledge, arcane rays of power, and telepathy, because her legacy is a quite sinister cult known as the Twilight Orchestra, who for generations have long been devoted to a prophecy wherein a dark Madonna will be birthed upon the world, and she will sing this apocalyptic tune and sing the world to sleep. That's their whole deal. That they're devoted to that. And Fermata is not that apocalyptic maiden. Instead, she is one of she she's someone who's being trained up in the cult, in the high by one of the higher ups. In fact, one of the higher ups of the Twilight Orchestra, who adopted her because when she was 5, Fermata, who only remembers her name was Cameron. At least that's the name she remembers using, so that's what she uses. Her telepathic abilities just kind of like came to the fore, but but came in a really like big way, where it just kind of like the whole sledgehammer of noise in her mind that made her like ran away from home and wandered around for quite a bit. Well, not too long, because she was picked up by the orchestra, specifically a woman who would go on to become incredibly prominent in the in the leadership of the orchestra. And she's decided to send her protege, well, her next in line, so to speak, Fermata, who has grown to be quite quiet and focused and keeps to herself kind of person. But her adoptive parent decided, you know what, you need a bit more training. You need to interact with other people. Um, we've survived this long because we're not completely insular. Um, so off you go to the School of Hard Knocks.
It's learning to harmonize. It's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. It's an orchestra. You all got to work together, and she needs to learn how to work well with other people.
Yes, and finally, Thunderchild.
Let's talk about Jacob Mordecai first. Jacob Mordecai was a 13-year-old boy, but Jacob Mordecai is dead. But Jacob Mordecai was also the son of Adam Mordecai, who is a supervillain in some form of, I suppose. I don't know what the hook would be for someone who's equivalent to someone like Hydra, but he was high up in there, and I was his son. And unfortunately, in a freak accident, Jacob Mordecai died, but his consciousness was trapped inside a prototype battle robot, which was designed to take down some of the superheroes in the city. So now Jacob has renamed himself Thunderchild because that's super cool. He's a battle robot and has a really cool jacket, so still dresses like he's a 13-14-year-old boy, but don't have no flesh no more. There's loads of battle systems in this thing that it can't quite understand, but it has managed to figure out how to run at things really fast and hit them with its hands.
Teen Vision. That's all I had.
It's adorable.
Teen Vision.
I love
it.
Okay. Let's go back around and we'll do I want to know about like the special bits of these characters. So I think the bull, what kind of bull are you, Atlas? Like, what for your love and rival, what will you be starting out?
Yeah, so I have taken enabler as my initial role, because I couldn't not when it was set right there. So yeah, he is he kind of, he does, he gets on with people, but he always sort of, is getting people to just do that thing that they know they shouldn't want to, but really want to.
Perfect. Arachnophobe, what are your obligations?
My obligations? I need to pull up the sheet real quick. I know I have 3. I'm going to have surrogate parenting be one, I believe. Going to look after the little brother. Make sure he's actually going to grow up to be a contributing citizen to the society that I'm going to destroy. So yeah, surrogate parenting. we'll go ahead and say art club in school because got art. And I will say, let's have a social one. Let's have a best friend. Best friend, which would be called Damien. There you go.
This works. And for Mata, can you tell us what about your legacy that's filled out?
Yeah, so I have the person who's active and prominent in the city, which is Sforzando. They are kind of like the face of the orchestra to the underworld, so to speak. Um, if they were to pick from those lines of abilities, they would have the lots of mooks. Um, they're kind of like the ones who kind of like help. I guess they're like a troubleshooter in that they make sure the orchestra's operations, are going or are going concern. If any hero would like know of the orchestra, they would know Sforzando. Although they might not even know that he works for a cult. As far as they know, he is just a guy with a lot of money to throw around, and he rarely fights himself. He just has a lot of like mooks for him. Um, he seems like a musically interested crime boss rather than someone dedicated to a cult and a prophecy. Um, and then there is the one who's retired and quite judgmental, which is the person who adopted Fermata. She's taken on one of the positions in the orchestra, so she's now known only as the conductor. Um, Basically, she's like the equivalent of like the spy master, I guess, in the orchestra. But she's higher up. She dictates, long-term operations. Um, so so she has a high opinion of what's best for the orchestra, um, and has very high standards. Um, and there is the person who's the greatest opponent our legacy ever faced is still at large, and that's Cadenza. And she's a big threat because she's a traitor. Because she nearly ruined our plans. Um, Got away with a lot of like artifacts and knowledge, and she's out there in New Gauntlet City trying to be a hero, trying to remake herself. Um, she's over at Chanceville, so I don't know if she'll pop up anywhere nearby. But she's out there, and she could just be telling the world about us. In fact, I don't know if Romana know this, but probably the only reason why Cadenza is not more open about it is because then she has to admit that she was part of a cult, which just makes her even more heinous in the cult's eyes. At least be proud of it. Um,
How dare she?
yeah, jerk.
Okay, so I think we know the team. Well, I think that this is like you would be in like the same class together. Like you would have been training to get your powers together before you were sent on a mission together. So let's go around and hand out relationships first, I think. So I think I'll start in reverse character keep order this time with our transformed. Let's do your first relationship question, or whichever one you want to pick first.
So someone knew me before I was changed. Who would like to have known Mordecai and Supervillain Dad before this? It sort of feels that Fermata is the most likely one for this because like if we're all part of super evil superhuman parent cult as well, then we hang out when my dad and your mom were doing supernatural evils or something. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, I like that. Like there was some sort of bring your child to work day scenario.
It's like when we were young, before you became cool and teenager and all spooky. We used to play My Little Pony together or something.
Yeah, well, yeah, when I was way more uncertain and a bit more shy, and then I turned spooky and quiet, and you became a robot.
That's got that sort of Runaways feel, which I absolutely love as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Mom, can we go outside and play? Yeah, we're just busy down here, like in the basement in like robes and all that. I see it.
So maybe like as well, I just sort of to expand upon that relationship, because you're the only person I knew is like in this world, like my age, when the transformation first sort of came about and I became the robot. Maybe he, if you're okay with it, Leandro, that I sort of sort Fermata out, and we get this sort of Frankenstein like modern day Prometheus scene of lightning crackling outside your house and this robot in the yard.
Yeah. I think like oh god, that's a terrifying image.
And then there was a misunderstanding and a fight.
Of course,
because that's
yes.
comic book, right?
Yeah.
And the exposition sleepover. Yeah, so Fermata, which of your backstories do you want to do first?
Let's see. You once got caught doing something that shames your legacy with blank. I think that could be any of these three, honestly. Got a bunch of rowdy boys here. And Fermata's definitely the straight-laced one. Let's see. I think it would be more shameful with like probably the one who's the most down to earth. Not to say that Arachnophobia is the most down. Well, actually, no, I guess I am saying that. I'm sorry.
Nah, yeah, I can just imagine Arachnophobia just being like, hey, do you want to go, like, I don't know, spray paint a giant penis on the side of a church or something, like inspire to do delinquent things to, like, have fun.
That could be what like shamed your legacy. Like, you're doing petty crime. We are overthrowing the paradigm of mortality, and you are spray painting penises. This does not forward the cult's aims at all.
It really doesn't. But
at least it's fun.
Yeah, it was fun, but she's not going to admit that to anyone. But I think Arachnophobia would know that you found it fun.
Okay.
Yeah, friendly graffiti. So yeah, Arachnophobia, which of your relationship questions do you want to do first?
I am gonna do blank knew you from your civilian life first.
That looks like. Let me see that sounds like a. Oh yeah, it is the Janus. Huh.
Yep. I have a few ideas for this one. First one that comes to mind is actually Danny when he first moved over. Could be the guy that showed him around. I'm not sure if Danny ended up going to school or anything, but the teacher might have been like, hey, Cody, go do the thing. And because of it, Cody's had to introduce himself so you would know him from his previous life. I also thought Fermata, because Fermata has come graffitiing with Cody before. And I actually thought Thunderchild as well, because what if Cody knew Thunderchild from like before Thunderchild was like 13, like growing like preschool days type deal. When Cody might have been more outgoing and, well, as outgoing as a young kid could be. But yeah, I have options with all three. So it's just for whoever wants to jump in on that.
I'm happy to take it. I think if we were, again, knew each other, hang out, maybe we had a hobby or an interest in common before.
Yeah, sounds good.
The accident. What does Cody do? What did Cody do to be
Cody
cool?
is an art club. Could have done like a.
Cody graffitis, and as you can see from the picture I'm using, he's got a baseball bat, so it's the only sport he liked because he got to hit something. So there's always that.
Yeah, maybe we're like in a kid's baseball league, and that gives us the opportunity that maybe, like, you know, if there's something that was like the team slogan that gets spinned out, it might be that I recognize who
Who drew
Cody
it up?
is. Because you might not know that Jacob is Thunderchild. I'm not playing Janice. He don't look like he used to. So
Yeah.
that could explain.
But he'd definitely recognize Cody once he reveals, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, face, it's me.
Yeah, it's just a question for Janice when you want to do that, right? So I think.
You know what? I think it'd be spicy to do it in character.
Yeah, exactly. So I think so. Yeah, if we find but if we find out, or this is like lines which get spun in, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Next, our bull.
Yeah. So my first question is, when I managed to inevitably find the right tab, is I know what it is. I just can't remember exactly how it's phrased. Blank is my love. I've opened up to them about the worst parts of your past. I'm wondering if this might be Cody, because we have some kind of shared experiences there.
Delinquency hobbies unite us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go to the same. We really should set up a support group for people who've been abducted and experimented on to turn them into the ultimate weapon. It's
But hey, you go to
Like a bad joke is like Danny was inpatient, Cody was outpatient for the mad scientists.
So we're trying in the hallway like, oh hey man.
And we will wrap back around. So who is your rival too?
Sure. So this is Blank as my rival. They have tried to control me at a crucial moment. So I think that this could. I think it could be. I think that either Fermata or Thunderchild could fit into this. I think with Fermata, it is much more likely to be that that Fermata has tried to boss Danny around, which he doesn't take too kindly to. Boss him around, put it too straight. But that's probably how he sees it anyway. Or with Thunderchild, I can see it being more of a physical rivalry. So I guess if either of you is interested in jumping on that.
I'd like to decline on those terms if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I think Fermata would have absolutely tried to boss him around, or at least she won't do it like opening, but in that quiet sort of I expect you to follow along kind of way,
behind the curtain type deal.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so Arachnophobe, who, for this final relationship question, who don't know you?
You refused to tell Blank your secret identity when they asked. So Cody is down to earth in the sense that he's not looking outwardly to global domination or anything. He's more very much, I'm messing up the neighborhood, but I don't want to pull the moon down like a meteor or anything like that. So I think that he wouldn't tell either Danny or Fermata about it. Danny because they're friends, and Cody wouldn't want to put that kind of pressure on him, since the whole Cody being the love situation. But I don't think he would tell Fermata because the cult angle is kind of creepy, even for like a shady guy like him. He's like, just in case you can't know who I am just yet. Like, you're cool, but you're not me cool. Because that is a very Cody thing to say, Christ. But yeah.
Yeah, I certainly think that that Danny would have asked how like upset he is by not being told, I don't think is necessarily a big thing, but so I don't know if that's something that Fermata would like to play off of, but I definitely think that it's not the. I think if nothing else, Danny's kind of curious because he has had such a sort of unusual upbringing that he probably would have done the sort of just done the small talk questions.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, it works for either or. So
yeah.
What do you think, Leandro?
Yeah, I think probably if we're going from Anna, like she would have asked probably after the after the whole graffitiing a penis situation, like and it would have been partly it would have been like just a spur of the moment kind of thing. Kind of like it would have been like well, I guess we can be friends sort of thing, but because of the way she was raised, like if we're gonna be friends, I need to know exactly everything about you.
Oh yeah, and he's like, good one. Whip. Yeah, no, I think we'll go for Mata in this one then. So when she asked, they're like, nope, sorry, you're cool, but you're not me cool.
So I have to ask then, does Danny know who Arachnophobe is?
I think Danny knows who Cody Jameson is, but I don't think he knows who Arachnophobe is. If that makes sense. He knows the identity beneath the mask, but not.
I don't think the School of Hard Knocks requires you to release your secret identity. Just be willing to work for them.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, we're villains after all. Like, we don't need to know who your parents are to go threaten them. Especially if you're at school, we can threaten you. Yeah. Fermata, your next question or relationship.
Let's see. You trust Blank and told him an important secret of your legacy. I think this kind of goes to probably Thunderchild because he seems like the closest to her, at least out of these three. If that's okay with you, Dave.
Can you repeat that, please, Leandro?
I was gonna say that Fermata trusts Thunderchild and told them an important secret of her legacy.
Because I'm down with that. What did you tell me?
I told him about the very first proper mission that she was brought in to help with. It wasn't too much, she was just part of like a group who was sent in to break into this prison and break out an important prisoner. But I think I let slip to you that this important prisoner is someone very, 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 in fact, probably the most important person to the Twilight Orchestra. Like,
did you
actually? Oh, go ahead.
Did you tell me that before or after I was transformed?
I think this would be after,
Cool.
Because this mission actually kind of happened quite recently.
Got you.
Or at least I don't know how the timeline in Gotham City works, but at the very least, maybe like a year and a half. So even though Fermata looks like she's trained up, experience-wise, she doesn't really act. She's not had as much. But I think she told you because she wanted to share to someone. And even though, you did the whole Frankenstein Prometheus thing, I think outside of the orchestra, you're still the one that's like closest to her. But it's been weird because you're different. You're a robot now.
It had to be said during that exposition sleepover.
Yeah.
I will never know what it is to kiss a real girl.
and Veronica's like, that's rough, buddy.
Yeah. Pat.
So, Thunderchild, your final relationship.
So someone come for me when you're at the lowest. I think some of the background with Atlas would suggest that might be a good thing. I think Thunderchild does struggle of being a child trapped inside a war machine. And I think there are probably some similarities between Atlas and Thunderchild in that way, David. If you're cool with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely see. I definitely see. I definitely see Danny as the kind of the he's not Wolverine in the sense that he's I'm the loner. He is very much a sort of people person. Even if his idea of therapy is probably like, look, hey, we can it sucks that you've been stuck in this cool robot body, but how about we go and blow up some ships?
Yeah, I think probably it was something like a system coming online that Thunderchild didn't know was there, and then ended up like slicing a chunk out of a skyscraper or something. It's one of those sort of moments where you've caused wanton destruction, and I didn't know I could do that, and people got hurt.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool.
Lovely. And I think, do we want to have like loaded NPC questions before the team came together, or do the team came together, then take a break while I come up with the questions?
We could do team come together and then give you a little bit of time to make those questions exceptionally hard for us.
Okay. And I think we have mostly the same spread of questions, so I'm going to our Bulls question is unchanged when the team came together. So when the team came together, what happened?
I need to pull up the thing. I had it up here.
Sorry, I'm muted. Yes, so when the team first came together, we defeated a dangerous enemy. Who or what was it? So I think I like the idea that and again, I don't know if this steps on the toes of. Yeah, no, I think those that's cool. So yeah, I think we'd maybe been sent to like ostensibly we'd been sent to like rob, maybe we'll go old school and say rob a bank somewhere, but it like we probably hadn't been explicitly told, but it's obvious that we were sent there because Domina knew that a certain hero would show up to to stop us, and they were kind of the real target of what we were sent there to do. And I think that hero was kind of a I'm trying to think of the maybe a kind of and this is my recent knowledge is mostly based on like the TV series and the like, but I'm thinking maybe Daredevil, like in the latter series, where he's not ridiculously powerful, and but he is kind of a household name. He's good, he's experienced, and we managed to take them down. I think that their name was
if you want someone from the Gauntlet City, I actually played a Daredevil, more Elektra XP called Anesthesia. She is a nurse turned if she can put you back together, she can take you apart.
Yeah,
if you want, that vigilante, she took down she was violent in her run, so I mean it would be a thing to take her down.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, we'll go with Anesthesia. Was the hero we defeated, and obviously we didn't like take her out of action permanently, but we bested her, and gave her a black eye, figuratively, if not literally.
It caused her to retreat, which has never been done before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Chekhov's flash grenade had to be used one time at least. But anyway, our Janice gets a changed question.
That
Someone
I do.
on the scene benefited from our actions. Who are they, and how do they aid us?
That is a good one. Someone on the scene. All right. Okay. So going off the idea that we went to the bank in order to bait out the hero, rather than actually rob the bank. Um, did we successfully rob it in the end? If so, I was going to say that our tip, or rather the one that wanted us to be at the bank to get the hero there, um, was present and accounted for, undercover kind of deal as a civilian, while we, brutalized people, probably ruined the cameras, took a load of stuff, waiting for the hero to show up, drawing attention in. And they were pretty much the sponsor for the ones who basically requested it, and would be putting in a handsome donation from the insurance money from being in a bank when it was being robbed in broad daylight.
So it's sort of like a more cunning penguin, like sponsoring.
Yeah. He's like, oh goodness gracious, I was just a guy who used the bank, and they took like 50,000. So like, I need them to pay me back on it, and then
I've been financially ruined and emotionally scarred. I need recompense.
Bingo.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I'm trying to think of a flightless bird that isn't a chicken, and all I want to do is call this guy the cassowary.
The emu. Took out Australia, came to New Holland City. I believe our legacy's question is basically unchanged, except for that it is aimed at a villain.
Yeah, so all things considered, we did well in impress an established villain. Who was it? Um, hmm. Probably it's someone who works in the school. Who at least like would have noticed, because I don't think because we're robbing a bank, I don't think we're the type to stick around and wait for the we're like, good job, because that's that's not how it works.
Did
on
everything
this
for villain TMZ and Insta.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I think it's one of our probably someone who works in the school, one of the teachers. I don't know if you had any teachers in mind for it beyond.
We besides your headmistress,
Yeah.
I don't have any like major in play. I'm fine picking people from the new Gauntlet city canon. Like we could have like we could have a funding in like the defense attorney Ozrock from the
I was thinking about that, but it's like she pops up everywhere.
Oh yeah, like not we don't need her, but like for example,
Yes,
but
someone
like
works for her.
like I mean Loki has been like there have been some evil gods. I think Persephone and Loki are on scene.
Yeah.
Could be oh, go ahead.
Actually, I think it's probably someone who's a bit more on the physical side of villainy, proper like guy who would appreciate a bank robbery. I think their name is Pyre, Pyre, um, and I think they are um, I'm imagining them as kind of like a lava figure, in a big boiler suit. Um, Very noticeable, so he doesn't really get to go out much. He's past his heyday, for sure. Um, I think there are more parts of him that are like turning to earth. There are more earth than lava these days, but so that's why he would appreciate a group getting physical. You know, um, you know, criminals like to play smart. But there's something to appreciate about getting getting down and dirty.
Back in my day, I used to do it like that. You have a great right hook there. Doesn't set him on fire, but at least you're not fighting Asbestos Man anymore.
Condiment King.
And are transformed. Your question is unchanged because it is tragic.
So we drew attention and ire from plenty during the fights. One important person in particular now fears and hates us. Who is it? So when we got into the bank vault and sort of tore the door away with Mike looking in, and it was full of money and gold and safety deposit boxes. I think Thunderchild loses control of their powers and melts the gold and flames the safety deposit boxes, destroying all sorts of precious records and other bits and pieces in the vault. But I think we need someone who's like who paints us as villains and nemesis in the print media would be my feeling. Someone who's got it out for us as the bad guys because we burnt the family jewels. I'm going to need to name them, aren't I? And
Our very own James Jonah Jameson.
That's what I was thinking. Is rather than a villain or a human, or a human who paints us whatever we do and whatever we decide to be in the worst way possible.
So Dean Damian Danielson or something like that. I don't know.
Love it.
Dean Dennis Danielson. There you go.
Yeah, who is the crime desk reporter of whatever the have we established in Gauntlet City any sort of newspapers or anything like that?
I think we have, but I also know there is a Super TMZ, which is a mercenary organization that reports on the failures of heroes and supervillains. But I don't know if this would be a failure for scoop.org.
So maybe we can make up our own newspaper then. Let's call it the Sentinel, right? So the paper's called the Sentinel, and yeah, we've pissed off their deputy editor in chief, who's their crime desk.
Oh wait, there is Sherwood has its very own lefty newspaper called the Iron Fist.
I think I saw that on the wiki page.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think the Iron Fist, the truth of media, will see us see us as the villains we are.
Gotta make it big, everyone.
Okay, so let's take a 15-minute break. I will write some NPC questions, loaded questions, and we will also go over safety tools, tone, everything that we want to see, don't want to see, and make sure we're all on the same page for our villainous antics.
Right.
See you at 16 after the hour, everyone.
All right, see you soon. Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I completely forgot about the backstories besides relationships. I've been running too much Monster Hearts.
No such thing.
There is such a thing as too much Monster Hearts, because that means that Sawyer's not running enough masks for everyone instead.
Well,
I mean,
I've been found out. That's how it works.
How are you anyway? So is things a bit more sensible in your apartment now that the difficult person moved out?
Yeah, that is much better. And I'm actually working on a Monster Hearts project, so that
Ooh.
that'll hopefully
Oh.
be fun.
squinty eyes.
The overlays, you know what they are, Jay.
Oh, those things. I need to read through more of them. I wish I could do my own, but I'm not smart enough. I procrastinate a lot, so it's a hopeless cause for me.
Yeah, let's go over the backstory questions that every character has. Well, actually, first let's do safety, so we make sure that these backstories won't be rubbing anyone the wrong way. We have my basic lines of sexual assault and violence. We don't shouldn't be in the real world. It's not going to be in ours. Violence towards children, not a thing we need to see. I'm not big on violence towards pets, even though we're villains. We don't need to be kicking puppies. And I'm going to say a definite line on needless killing and death. This may be villains and all that, but we don't need to be playing the killing joke in every issue, basically. And, if someone does die, I want there to be pathos. I want there, even if it is more likely, it should still be heavy and consequence filled, not just there. We're not Image. Feel free to add your own veils and lines, and definitely makes sense. We will go over them before the game begins. Definitely.
Trying to think of some now. I'm terrible at these as well.
I mean, if you don't need to, if you don't have anything that comes to mind, or everything is covered, that is fine. The veil on consensual sex, since we are not only are we teenage superheroes, but we're not playing erotic roleplay, so we can have that a classy star wipe in comic, because star wipes are always great. Okay, yeah, that works for me, and I think I have a. If anyone wants to put that as a line, I'm fine with that. If anything that shows up as a veil or wants to be a line, that is fine. But once we are done with this, just type OK into the chat on Zoom.
I appreciate if someone can just clarify their boundaries of victimizing the powerless, if possible. If you don't feel capable, able to, I understand, but I just want to make sure I understand that.
No, that's okay. That was I put that in, and it's not something that's particularly I'm particularly sensitive about in that sense. It's just yeah, I'd like to avoid us kind of I want us to I'd rather us do super villainy than mugging old ladies and selling drugs on street corners kind of thing, which I mean it's what I'd expect, but yeah, I'd like to avoid kind of.
You want four color villainy, not we're taking over this place to make it's going to be a cool hideout, not because if we get the low paying tenants out that we can build a high rise.
Exactly, yeah.
Got you. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. And with that, let us get to our backstories, and I think we'll have to put David on the spot. Oh wait, no, I think someone actually, or let's see. Yeah, let's. put David on the spot with Atlas. First question is, who changed you?
Yeah, so I think that this was now I know that New Gauntlet City already has a plethora of shady corporations, and I always lose track of which is which. But I think in specific it was a program led by Dr. Hastings, who was basically leading the gene therapy and advanced super soldier program for. I definitely want it to be a maybe like a sort of a gray money project, but in like an actual otherwise
like,
above board organization, and with kind of tacit, if not explicit, sort of government approval type thing.
Remember that from Polychromatic Alliance, Optimax University did Optimax Services engineered battle cats to take on the American Empire. I mean, with government funds, it's fine.
Yeah, that's it. Optimax. That's the one I was trying to think of. Yes, so I think it was Dr. Hastings, who headed up. We'll call it Project Rebirth.
Nice. And your next, how did you escape from them?
Yeah, so I think that there was a. In fact, actually, yeah, I'm going to tie it back into because I guess that's the point of this shared universe thing. I think when the Polychromatic Alliance hit the Optimax facility, there was like an outage on like the containment field in the lab that and I think this is probably one of those sort of situations where he wasn't like inert in a vat of goo for the last 10 years or whatever. It was more that sort of like training and a sort of like dorm setup. But yeah, when like the when sort of the security started going haywire, he managed to break out in a very literal sense. Subtlety is not Danny's forte.
Yeah, when Cryptid flew as a dragon through the security rooms and took out the power, you just run.
Yeah,
you just follow the dragon. But yeah, that works. Who outside of the team tries to take care of you now? And feel free to be to tie that to Domina Carnifex if you would like.
Yeah, I was wondering whether to go for that, or I think I'm actually going to go for an outside connection. I think that is Uncle Tony, who is almost an actual uncle to Danny. It's kind of his dad's cousin rather than his dad's brother. Who runs a he runs a restaurant, and is probably also is involved in organized crime, mundane level organized crime rather than superpowered stuff. But I think he's the only, or he's certainly the only family that Danny has in Gauntlet City, and he has. I think he did kind of, when he first escaped, he tracked him down and stayed with him for a while, and sort of stayed with him on and off. And I think Tony genuinely has some like affection for Danny, but also, is a kind of 40-year-old gangster with no family and no intention of having a family. He's not the best father figure, but he at least tries. And I think he has been I think through Tony, he has been kind of in touch with his parents again, and there's probably been some kind of elaborate stuff that Optimax has been sending his parents for some time, and he hasn't really, because he's not seen them for years. He's not really got any interest in going back to them. Yeah.
Why do you try to be a villain?
I think he's, he is aware that he has been made to be a weapon, and it's what he's good at, what he's built for now. He is, and yeah, he, in general, he has very, given his whole until recent situation, he has absolutely no respect for authority. He basically doesn't feel that he owes anyone anything, and he's happy to take what he needs from the people that have it. He he does. I think he does still have kind of a moral core. He very much is kind of going back to our discussion just now. He has a beyond the old classic thing of you rob from the rich because they're the ones that have the money. He definitely has a kind of going further than that. He has a sort of like, you shouldn't, he doesn't like bullies. He doesn't like people who lord their power over people. But when there's other superpowered folk out there, and they're big corporations with no oversight, then hey, it's just a few numbers on a page at the end of the day.
And why do you care about the team?
I think it's primarily the having the team, or I guess the team in specific, and the School of Hard Knocks in general, has given him a bit of focus. They have it's given him something to actually concentrate on rather than just living day to day. And he recognizes specifically in the team, he recognizes that the other people have had, most of the other people have had similar experiences in one stripe or another to him, and he's I guess he has a bit more empathy with the members of the team than with the average person. So it's cool to stick around with them.
Nice. And on we move to our local spider thief villain thing. So, with your backstory, when did you first put on the mask and why?
Okay, so it would be 2 years prior to whatever date we're going to start the game in. And it was honestly by chance. Cody was stuck to the side of a building trying to graffiti some stuff. And it was in an alleyway, and across the street there was like another alleyway, like polar opposite to the one he was in. And he was watching a couple get mugged at gunpoint, held, literally whole shebang. And he just kind of watched and, saw how panicky they were, how terrified they looked. And yeah, like the guy was trying to run away, and he just kind of pulled his bandana up, swung on in, and kind of just landed on him to the point where he was sliding on top of him, took the wallet, and was like, rookie. And, left him all webbed up. And by the time he actually gave the wallet back, they were like, oh, thank you. And he's like, cool, sure. Flips away. And it turns out that he took their cards and their money. He was just going to go and pig out, get the biggest order of food that he can. And it was the rush of that kind of, spruced him on to pull the bandana up a little bit more often and see what he can find around.
So the rush of showing these criminals how to be a real criminal is why you put on the mask.
Pretty much, it's a food chain,
Okay. Next, why do you keep a secret identity?
Because deep down, actually not so deep. I'm not that deep. He knows that he's an ass, and he would much rather not bring the hassle of it. He would rather not bring the consequences of his actions to the doorstep of people who he looks after, i.e., little brother at home. If he doesn't keep a secret identity, then people will know that he's a jerk and pretty much has all the power and none of the responsibilities when he puts on that mask. So,
who outside of the team knows about your dual identity?
I would outright say the best friend that I mentioned earlier, Damien. Damien is very much almost like him in the sense that, they're both very honest and, well, as honest as they can be for a shady person, and forward and very much blunt to the point, but he's just good, like a good-hearted person. And he probably frowns upon a lot of Cody's stuff, actions, but he doesn't do much against it because what can he do? He's just a normal person. And he's known him for years, so.
Say like both like honest as you can be. It's just like an honor among thieves thing. Like I can trust you to be like you. You can trust me to be like me. Issue.
Yeah, pretty much. They have chats all the time, and it just ends in like Cody swinging away because like, nah, I ain't having this conversation with you. You're annoying me now.
I'm not gonna punch you, but I can swing away.
Yeah, that's it.
Who thinks the worst of your masked identity?
Ooh. I think it would be. Could it be one of? It wouldn't be one of his teachers because all of his teachers are villains. I'm gonna go ahead and add a juicy twist and say the little brother. The little brother sees what bad Arachnophobe does for the city, but hasn't clicked that it's his older brother. That's the shady neighborhood spider. I think that'd be fun.
So sad. And why do you care about the team?
I think it's more along the lines of, hey, you know what? I don't hang around with kids my age, but these guys haven't done me wrong, and I have no reason to outward dislike them. And it's pretty kick-ass to be able to do what the hell we want near enough and doing it together. Kind of it's that kinship that he doesn't know that he likes, but it feels great every time he does work alongside him to do some sort of nefarious deed.
Does it help that they're also like not obligated to get your secret identity, like by school mandate?
Yeah, definitely so. Um, because yeah, it just means that he can be the person that he wants to be when he wears the mask, which is somebody who doesn't care. And yeah, when it's off, then yeah, that's a little bit harder.
Okay. And I think next we move on to Fermata. Yeah, I think we know when you officially became part of your legacy, when you were
Yes, I helped
adopted.
with that. Oh well,
Oh yeah.
that was me. That was me being raised. But I think officially, which is getting this name and actually becoming an operative, because I was raised by the orchestra from like 5. But I think yeah, I didn't officially really become part of it and get the code name that like get a fancy name until that prison break, until I came in to help support breaking out this important prisoner for the Twilight Orchestra, um, which which is kind of like where all this training has led up to. But even though the most she did was help lay down some suppressive spells, it still was part of it. It's still cool, and I still have the name. And the conductor didn't. Well, she didn't say it. She was proud of me. She said this. I think she nodded my general direction. I think I don't know.
The Immortan Joan acknowledgement. That's the best. So yeah, what's the greatest accomplishment of your legacy then?
Um, I think it's starting. It's not well known again in the public, but within our legacy, I think the greatest accomplishment is that like this figure in their prophecy, this Dark Madonna, um, the orchestra, well, they believe that through years of laying down spells and social engineering and whatnot, they have managed to produce this figure, this person who will sing this song. They have her. She's alive. And also she's in New Gotham City, but no one's mentioned that. Yeah, but that'll be the greatest accomplishment. Like once she comes of age and she learns the song, the orchestra will fulfill its purpose. Right?
Oh, another
There's
young child. They cannot be friends with someone's little brother, of course. This can't be.
that would be tricky because
That's raised by
they were
cult.
yeah, well no, kind of. Well, the thing is she was in prison. She was the one they broke out.
Oh,
Uh
oh dear
so
gods.
so they're keeping her a secret somewhere in New Gauntlet City. The only people outside of the orchestra who would know that she's there is um well, the people she broke out with and Thunderchild because Fermatax let slip to him.
That
That they
works.
yeah.
So it reminds me of Keith Metal Idol, obscure anime drop. So, does the public even perceive your legacy, or are you hidden?
I think we're becoming more out in the open, partially because things are being more. The orchestra is being more brazen because they're so close to finishing their goal. They just need to hold out for a few more years until their Dark Madonna comes of age. And also because Alexei keeps using this group for his games, so they're becoming even more prominent. This is not a slam on him. Like it's actually great. I'm chuffed. Um, but yeah, I think the public, by and large, is becoming more and more aware that there is like a musical themed cult in New Gauntlet City.
Dear me. How does your legacy tie? Well, we know I suppose it ties into your reasons for wanting to be a villain.
Yeah, like they raised me. They gave me ways to control myself in ways I couldn't figure it out. They taught me a way of life that seemed worth pursuing. I kind of owe basically everything to them. So I don't consider what they do villainy because how could they? Um, how could I? It's just the right way to go ahead because the world needs to rest, to just sleep. You know, it seems straightforward. Anything the Twilight Orchestra does to further this goal is worth it. So as far as Fermat is concerned, villainy is just a brand they've stuck on the orchestra to justify driving them underground.
Uh-huh. And why do you care about the team?
Because as loath as she is to admit it, they are her first real connections to anyone outside of the orchestra. Um, and they seem cool people, and it's nice to be able to have to interact with people who, you know, grew up differently. It's just, it's nice.
Excellent. And next, I think, Jacob, do you want to go in depth more of who you were before? Or do you think I think
I think I'll just probably add that more possibly who he was before, but who his father is. His father is Adam Mordecai, who is part of a secret society known as Sin with two S, with the Science Society Information Nodes. They're a secret society of super scientists who work outside the law and ethics.
and that was science. It was
Sin with two S's.
Super Science Information Nodes. Oh dear.
It's a Science Society Information Node or Super Science. Yeah, either's fine.
Super Society, yeah. Oh, this is lovely. And what posited this change? What caused it?
Hey, what caused it? No one knows what caused that explosion on that day. But Adam Mordecai believes that someone was trying to kill him, and instead they killed his son and gave him this robot abomination.
Who outside the team is helping you understand your new body?
There is another member of Sin who is Tony Tigerman Romano.
We already have an Uncle Tony, so
We'll take Tony out then. Let's have Alfonso Romano.
is that Tiger Man?
He is Tiger Man. He's a member of Sin as well. An experiment didn't go quite so well on him. It was supposed to give him tiger strength. It gave him a lion's face. He runs a club called Bagheera's, and is now a merc and super crimes fixer.
I love him already. This is great. Why don't you just try to hide yourself away?
Because of the kindness of Famata Cameron, when I came to her on the night of my change, and rather than hiding myself away, she said, "Hey, you should come and join our super gang." So I don't hide myself away because I've got friends.
And why do you care about the team?
I think I probably answered that in the same
Yeah, you have friends.
question, right? I'm not so sure. I want to be like a big bad supervillain, but tearing bank vault doors off and hitting SWAT vans, that's kind of cool.
I mean, like Jinx, Mammoth, and Gizmo ended up like hanging out together as villains. So, I mean, it all works out. You can be cool. It's like now we have. I think the final bit is influence to hand out. So let's stay on our transformed, who I think has the easy one to do. I think you hand influence out to just one person because you keep yourself bottled up. Am I correct? Thunderchild, Dave?
Yeah, so you try not to care what other people think, even if you can't show them out. Give influence to one teammate. Well, that's definitely going to be to Famata, right?
Yes. Fermata now has influence over the 8-foot-tall Robo-Boy with a sweet jacket. And, Fermata, what do you do for your influence?
You're a part of this team, for better or worse. You care what they think. You give influence to all of them. Everyone gets influence.
Yes.
Hey.
You all have written that down. We need to have our Janus hand out his influence.
Yes. Let me just make sure. Yep. Okay. So you look up to your teammates. They seem to have this supervillain thing figured out. Give 2 of them influence over you. If we're gonna go off our last heist, which was the bank job, Thunderchild can have one because holy hell, he ripped the vault door off and like melted everything. And then go ahead and give one to Atlas. Let me mute myself real quick.
Okay, so Thunderchild and Atlas get. Let's wait for him to. I think David, you have to give influence to Arachnophobe.
That's right. Yes, I give my influence to my love and my rival. So that will be Arachnophobe and Famata.
Sorry about that.
No problem. You get influence over Atlas, and so does Fermata.
Ooh.
Okay, and I have several loaded questions, but after I'd forgotten to do the backstory, I think some of these may be some might be off, and if you want to, and we can alter them if need be, as always. But I want to start with let's start with Fermata this time, and everyone's going to have one question that is the same. That is a forked question. You can respond to it in one of two ways. But who is your best friend off the team in the School of Hard Knocks, or a hero you would hate to face?
Ooh. Yeah, I don't think she has any best friends outside the team.
The marching band sucks.
So yeah, hero would hate to face.
Feel free to choose from the modern age list of heroes.
Yeah, I was about to like slip through that. Let's see. No, I don't want to pick someone who was a PC. I think there is. Besides the greatest one the greatest threat to our legacy. I mean, I want to face her because she's a traitor. But a hero I wouldn't want to face probably. I mean, the image that comes to mind is like it's just me ripping off the stuff I've talked about in my other Mask game this week, which is basically like, some sort of streetwise magician, wizard. Dave's making a face at me.
My stuff takes place in a different continuity. Feel free to use it.
No, it's fine. What do you want? Now I'm thinking of porting an alternate universe version of my PC, who is a streetwise magician, John Constantine type, into Gauntlet. Oh my god. Okay, so
just give me character ownership rights, and you can do it.
Yeah. Her name is Bea Minerva. I think this version is aged up, as in she's an actual good street magician instead of a beacon who's trying her best. So, actually, no. Bea in that other mask game was John Constantine pre cynicism. This Bea would be actual John Constantine, actually cynical. I think she is someone who actively knows about the orchestra. If not for the fact that we had to trade her, she would be the biggest threat. Um, she's terrifying in that she's self-taught, that that everything she knows comes from like experience and testing stuff out on herself. Um, so she there's this like aura of I've fucking seen it all. Kind of like image from her, and it's for I think she's probably like the the main nemesis of Sforzando, who is the more prominent face. They probably had like plenty of battles, and as much as I'm gearing myself up to help out the orchestra, I've seen Bea Minerva in action. She's 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 something else.
Okay, give me 1 second. I think my phone's going off.
No worries.
I'm pretty much going to be giving out the character of mine. Oh,
Luckily, uh, luckily nothing was going on. So let's get to your next question of who in the Twilight Orchestra has always had your back?
Not the conductor. No. Well, technically, but you never told me that. I think it is one of the other like troubleshooters. She doesn't have like a fancy name because I couldn't think of one. Her name is Delilah Knight. Um, she is well, actually, she was someone who was like heavily involved in like the operation side of the orchestra. She was the one who brought me on the mission to break out the Dark Idol. Um, May she sing her glorious song, etc., etc. Um, she's someone who is quite no nonsense, scarily devoted to the Dark Madonna, but outside of that is like very like supportive of especially the younger contingent in the orchestra. It kind of helps. She kind of helps make sure that it's a tight knit group and not just a loose confederation of randos. That's Sforzando's job. Is to deal with the loose confederation of randos. Delilah Knight helps like foster camaraderie, partially because she's incredibly devoted to the prophecy, and just wants to ensure that everyone else is firm in their belief.
That works. And I think we've kind of answered this of how entrenched is the cult in New Gauntlet City. It's just sort of like sounds like it is growing wider. Like it is an MLM. It is getting up there.
Yeah, again, I have to credit Alexi for this because he keeps using the group in his games. Apparently, they popped up in the Hearts of Woolen game, which is just okay.
I can believe
okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm down for it. But yeah, very entrenched.
So let's go to Jacob or Thunderchild. I might have read the situation wrong, but your dad is a super villain, right?
That's right.
Okay, so what is his relationship to the School of Hard Knocks?
he's a genius in robotics, right? So I think what the School of Hard Knocks have done is they have used his services to build uh, the robots we fight in the danger room.
Nice. And feel free to make this anybody. Like I just chose your mother as a baseline, but if your mom's not in the picture, uh, I guess like as who outside of your father knows of your new body? What do they think?
I think the only other person who knows is the person who laid the trap to kill Adam Mordecai, and I don't know who that is. So they know, and they're worried. But I'll give you a mystery hook to beat me with.
Nice. Oh, this is. I've already have ideas, and thank you. And so the same question that we're all going to be getting: who is your best friend in the School of Hard Knocks, not on your team, or a hero you'd hate to face?
Was that to me again?
Yes, the final one.
For the pathos of it, I need a name. But I think it was. It was. Yeah, a friend from his mortal life, or normal life before he came to the school, because his father sort of said, "You must be dead," and let's call him Hiram. And we were friends in my real life in school, and occasionally I will sort of watch him from afar, but I've never picked up the confidence to tell him who I am or what happened.
That is tragic. I like that we are pre-torturing our characters. Very, very on brand. So, Arachnophobe, the question we will all be getting: who is your best friend in the School of Hard Knocks, not on your team, or a hero you'd hate to face?
Okay. So I have a hero in mind. One of my other player characters that was an option. He's a hero. You know that one kid that drinks an overabundance of energy drinks and likes to like ride his BMX off all kinds of ramps. Well, this particular adrenaline junkie is called Gareth Chesters. And Gareth is also known to the public as the Gremlin. He has a hoverboard. He has propulsion packs on the bottom of his shoes to make sure that he can fly around and glide. And he has like gourd bombs or pumpkin bombs that he just kind of throws around and does all kinds of stuff with. He's very much one of those villains that heroes that would come into a dire situation, make a complete joke out of it to distract the public while simultaneously try to take down the villain so that nothing else is blown out of ridiculous proportion when he's around. But he's incredibly annoying, and he seems like it would be a lot of hard work. And Kurt is not about that hard work, not with overbearing villain heroes. I have a picture as well if you need one. All right.
For more pathos, what does your brother do that lets you think he stands a chance?
Stand a chance against.
Oh, just life in general. A chance you might not have had.
His brother's tech savvy, but he's never been strong at maths, never been strong at anything like that. But his brother, on point.
Not bad.
I think my camera's dying out for some reason.
Feel free to go off camera if you need, and we can just listen to you.
Yeah, I'll fix this up.
And finally, who in the school, besides Dominic Carnifex, knows you are Cody?
I would say, can I go ahead and say the janitor? The one who has to scrub off whatever Cody like puts up on the walls. I think at one point or another, Cody would have like found him like scrubbing away like day after day, and he just felt sorry for the guy, so he just appeared one day next to him with like a bag of burgers and was like, "Hey man, just FYI, I'm the dude that's giving you all of this hassle."
It's like, this guy has to be like that one mook who like started his career in supervillainy as, like, henchman number 13, is now henchman number 1, and it's like been henchman number, like, the best henchman for like 20 years, and this is his retirement. You get to be a janitor at a supervillain school.
Yup, like this is your luck. And we'll call him, I don't know. I almost said Bob, but then Hydra Bob came to mind, and I can't do that. That'd be too much. Go ahead and name him Larry. Lawrence is his name, but everyone just calls him Larry.
Not bad. And now we get to Atlas. As always, who is your best friend not on the team in the school, or a hero you'd hate to face?
My best friend at the school is a girl called Amira Javid. She goes by the code name Whisper. As the code name suggests, she is your classic, cat burglar type. And I think she actually has some, like, she doesn't have like the big superpowers, but she does have some kind of sound control capabilities. And other than that, is a very proficient thief.
Who did you leave behind when you escaped? And was it on accident or on purpose?
I think it was one of the other kids who was being experimented on there, because of course there were, an indistinct number of other people being experimented on, and the one in particular who I was trying to get out was they were called or I knew them by the
Feel free to be like
Apollo was their code name. They had they were a kind of the sort of non-invulnerability bits of Superman. They could fly. They could fly and with sort of wings, though, and do sort of like bursts of laser light from their we'll go classic and say eyes. They were but they basically had some sort of sort of restraints placed on their wings to stop them from just being able to sort of fly around. And I couldn't get them off safely. I tried to sort of get them out manually, but they were, they just couldn't move as quickly as I could, and they were caught by Optimax security.
And finally, who first hired you for mercenary work?
Oh. Oh, we'll go for the classic, and I'll say that I spent a bit of time with the Dead End Queens.
I like it, and I think we are at the point where we could have a break. But I'm thinking since this is session 0, we've gotten pretty much everything down. It would give me time to write up the NPCs, flesh out things, and we can start next session, just session 1, if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, I will. I'll make sure to get like wishes and stuff in, just to make sure that we're going to be on the same page. But I think I can do that text-wise during the week. So yeah, thank you all for showing up, especially on short notice for some of you, and looking forward to causing mischief and mayhem and redeeming these characters with everyone, or going full hog. We'll see.
Oh, it's gonna be a journey. All right, thanks very much for running
It's
that.
gonna be a wild journey.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thanks everyone. It was good fun.
I realized I was muted the whole
Yeah.
time as I was talking.
Yeah, that'll happen.
See you all next week then.
Yeah, next one.
Yeah.
See you later.
so,
Take care.
Bye.
Later, peeps.